Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg. I am your host, your long-lost host. I'm sorry for the delay between videos. Things are just really busy. What's going on with you guys? I have a update. I wanted to share with you some of the books I've been reading and have finished, as well as I guess you'd say TBR for the next month or so. I mean, this is the 11th of May, so I am missing the beginning of the month, May TBR announcement. I really don't typically do those beginning of the month TBRs just because my reading schedule and review commitments are so in flux, and I have different deliverable dates for many of them. So, I start new books all the time. So it could be middle of the month, it's nutty. But anyway, I did want to, share with you some of the books I've read and some books that are coming up and will be published soon that I think you should keep an eye out for. And then what else? Yeah. Just current buddy reads, just let you know the progress on one of those. I'm going to be trying to show you some book covers that are on my Kindle. I've been forced to do some review work on ebooks, so it's not my preferred way of reading. I like print copies better. I have been getting used to using the reading digital proofs, digital galleys, but my preference is physical. But I want to kind of show you what book covers I can, but it's a little difficult when you're holding up the Kindle and there's reflections and all this kind of stuff, but I'm going to do the best I can because I think it's helpful to see a book jacket cover. Oh, anyway, so let's start with my last video. I asked for your guys' help in picking out. I had a bunch of new casemate history books, and they were all interesting to me, so I asked for your help to vote and tell me which one you'd like to see me talk about on this channel to read first. And I said to vote in the comments, and then I put up a community poll on my YouTube channel, and boy, did that get a lot of response. I think that might be the way for me going forward, although with those polls, you can only, I think, add four options, and that in the case of my video, I had 8 books. But there was at least 4 top contenders where people were voting for them the most. But we do have a winner, and by a little bit of a margin. But I will say that the follow-up book was close, and then a third one kind of emerged big time in the community poll. But I'm gonna go with the winner, and the good news is that I will be doing a book review for the runner-up for the Saber and Scroll Journal. I frequently write book reviews for that academic journal. But I think I'm okay to just kind of discuss my thoughts on the book, or just talk about what the book was about, and so I will for this channel. But the winner of the poll for the first book for me to read from the last video is the Anglo-Soviet Alliance. I was really surprised you guys had a lot. At first I thought Bletchley Park's Secret Source was going to win, hands down. There were a lot of early votes for that. And then this one just surged. People showed a lot of interest in this book. The Anglo-Soviet Alliance, Comrades and Allies During World War II by Colin Turbot. So it's not a massive book, so I really feel like I can fit this into my reading schedule over the next month and report back to you guys. And it's amply illustrated, so actually the text, it shouldn't be too hard. So this was the winner. Thanks for helping me choose the next book, guys. You chose it for me, and I really appreciate it. But this one came in a close second, I would say. I don't have the numbers. I mean, I was doing a little cheat sheet where I was doing little, counting the little stick notations from the comments. But then when I did the community poll, and that broke down into percentages. What did I have here? The last time I checked, we had like 55 votes, and like 22 of them went to the Anglo-Soviet Alliance. And what was interesting is that two of the other books, let me just go there real quick to my channel and check while I'm talking to you. Two of the books tied at the last time I checked. They had 14 votes apiece. And I believe it was between Bletchley and Fight for a Throne about the Jacobite rising in 1745. So that book also made an impact. I know a lot of you were interested in that as well. So let me go to my community channel, see if we got any more votes. No, we did. We ended at about 55 votes. So the clear winner in the poll was 40% for the Anglo-Soviet Alliance. And then the book I'm going to show you actually had the lowest votes from the community poll. However, it was neck and neck with the Anglo-Soviet Alliance in the comment section of the last video. But anyway, yeah, so Bletchley Park and Fight for a Throne both had 25% voting. But in the comment section, you guys really showed a preference as well for this little volume here, Screams of the Drowning. From the Eastern Front to the Sinking of the Gustloff by Klaus Willmann. And this is a foreword by Roger Morehouse, a fantastic World War II historian. And it's a true story about one German soldier's experiences of surviving the horrors and bloodshed of World War II. And this book reminds me a lot in the sense of, you know, he survived a lot of the fighting in the war only to end up on the ship, an armed transport ship, and he was heading back to Western Germany, but it was attacked and sunk, and then he had to try to survive that. So this is all about his experiences, and I'm really excited to read this one as well. And again, I'll be reviewing this one for the Saber and Scroll Journal. But I'll let you know. You know, the gist of it once I'm done reading it. Of course, I will talk about it. What was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, so the story kind of reminds me of the American Civil War. Let me start that again. The American Civil War incident of the wounded transport ship, the Sultana, which was a massive, heartbreaking tragedy to read about. There's been a couple of really good books written about the Sultana. But, you know, these men had survived prison. They were wounded, horrifically wounded in battle. And what had happened was this was a ship for the wounded, and they were heading back to the north. And I forget what happened. Oh, it was just a fire began on the ship, and it was overloaded. Like, I mean, way beyond code. It was unsafe. And then a fire began, maybe down in the boiler room or something. And a lot of these men couldn't move. They were immobile, incapacitated, too weak from starvation from prisons, you know, that they were just released from prison, southern prisons. And they were so close to just leaving, you know, getting away from the horror. And then this happens, you know. So massive loss of life, you know. It's horrible. But yeah, the Sultana. So this book kind of reminds me of that, because it seems like this man survived one set of horrors just to have to endure, you know, something even more wretched. So fun times history can be. But anyway, thanks again for voting. And I do have these books on my docket for the next month and a half or so. So, in fact, I have to finish this one. And my review is due July 1st on this one. So I have time, obviously. I'm going to probably start reading this in June. I'm juggling a lot, you guys. I'm juggling a lot. Been reading a lot of historical fiction for reviews, but I'm working on a couple of history items. Let me also talk about... Well, here's a fiction book I just finished. I will have a review coming out very soon on this in the Book Browse review, and normally I'm able to share those on social media. People who are not members of Book Browse can access the review for a short period of time, the full review, so I will share it if you want to read my review of The Plot by Jean Hanff Korelitz. When is this coming out? This is an advance copy. Oh, it's out today. It is available today, and let me tell you, I really enjoyed this. This was a fun, what would you call it? Psychological thriller, kind of suspense. Takes you kind of inside the worlds of writers and writing in the publishing industry as well. So if you really vibe on that, but with an element of, it kind of reminded me a little bit, at least in some of it. I mean, it's a very unique story. Okay, let me just read you the story. Okay. All right. Jacob Finch Bonner was once a promising young novelist with a respectably published first book. Today, he's teaching in a third-rate MFA program and struggling to maintain what's left of his self-respect. He hasn't written, let alone published, anything decent in years. When Evan Parker, his most arrogant student, announces he doesn't need Jake's help because the plot of his book in progress is a sure thing, Jake is prepared to dismiss the boast as typical amateur narcissism. But then he hears the plot. Jake returns to the downward trajectory of his own career and braces himself for the supernova publication of Evan Parker's first novel. But it never comes. When he discovers that his former student, hang on, that the plumber's calling. What timing? Yeah, there's a lot going on at the casa. Let me finish reading this and I'll... Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so where'd I leave off? It's really intriguing. Okay, so he's waiting for the supernova publication of this arrogant student's first novel, right? But he never hears about it. When Jake discovers that his former student has died, presumably without ever completing his book, Jake does what any self-respecting writer would do with a story like that, a story that absolutely needs to be told. In a few short years, all of Evan Parker's predictions have come true, but Jake is the author enjoying the wave. He is wealthy, famous, praised, and read all over the world. But at the height of his glorious new life, an email arrives, the first salvo in a terrifying and anonymous campaign. "You are a thief," it says. As Jake struggles to understand his antagonist and hide the truth from his readers and his publishers, he begins to learn more about his late student, and what he discovers both amazes and terrifies him. Who was Evan Parker, and how did he get the idea for his sure thing of a novel? What is the real story behind the plot, and who stole it from whom? So that's the synopsis of the plot by Jean Hanff Corlitz. And I don't know if some of you have seen her book. I saw the adaptation. I didn't know that she had written the book that it was based on, but there was an HBO show with Nicole Kidman recently, like a year or so ago, called The Undoing. It was adapted from her best-selling book, You Should Have Known. It had Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant, and David E. Kelley was at the helm of The Undoing. I mean, I liked The Undoing, but I thought the ending was kind of weird. And so I would probably have to read the book, but man, holy crap, she blew me out the water with this story. It's very unique. I will have the book review coming. I will share it. I'll send out a link when it's available. Please check out the book review on Book Browse. But I really enjoyed this book, the plot. I hate saying the cliche page turner, but it was very easy for me to pick it up. It wasn't like work, you know. It was like, oh man, what's this guy doing, man? He's in. Okay, I'm not going to say anymore. All right, so the next book I'm reading. We started this book in April. Me and my buddy read pals, Lukash at A Cruel Reader's Thesis, and Patrice Jones. She is our ubiquitous buddy read personage, and she doesn't have a booktube channel, but she does a lot of buddy reads with a lot of booktubers and other folks, and I've done a couple with Patrice and Lukash before, and they've been a lot of fun. We're reading 1493 because last year or a year and a half ago we read 1491 by Charles Mann, and so we decided we need to follow up with 1493. And this is uncovering the new world Columbus created. And it is fascinating. I think Patrice said she's enjoying this one even more than 1491. And we're about 200 pages in. We're just starting part 3, where we're going to cover Europe and the agro-industrial complex. It's a mixture of lots of different things: history, ethnography, ecology, biology. He talks about the Columbian Exchange and how that impacted different areas. This last chapter was fascinating about how the Columbian Exchange and how American crops, such as sweet potatoes and maize and potatoes, really transformed China and actually added to the population boom there. And eventually, because of incorrect agricultural practices, led to a lot of the increase in the flooding that they have, and just the degradation of the land there. It's a fascinating book. Yeah, it's heavy on the biology as well. So that's kind of new for me. It's I'm getting a nice little dose of science as we go along here, but without reading the big synopsis here, because I have a lot to cover. This is what's cool about the book, as I've already bought another used book or two based off of the sources that he uses for this book. Like, it's fascinating. I bought a book by David Abulafia, who has written 2 massive histories of oceans, the different oceans or seas, which I have, and I haven't been brave enough to undertake them yet. They are massive, like encyclopedic size books. But he wrote a book called The Discovery of Mankind. It's just right over there. I should show you. I'll show that in my next video, where I'm kind of showing you the new books I procured. But that's just one book where I was just like, I want to read more about Columbus's, interactions with the natives in the different areas that he traveled to. And it also covers different interactions in the Age of Discovery between native people and the explorers. So the book itself, this is my book club edition, but it's like 410 pages, right? So you see how there are many pages are left here? You see these? This is all notes and works cited and bibliography. And wow, I love that. I can get lost in these notes. I love seeing his sources, and it just gives me more ideas for used books to look for. Because some of these, are like older books, so you definitely have to look for them secondhand copies and stuff. But anyway, really enjoying 1493. We're right about there. We're hoping to finish by the end of the month, but you know what? We're not pushing ourselves. We're just going to take our time. And we decided, because we're going to read a chapter a week, and each chapter is about 30 pages or 40 pages. Between about, I say averaging 40, but and we're all reading different things, so we've got a lot on our plates. But so a chapter a week really works well for our little buddy read group. What else? Oh, this is a book I'm also. And there's another buddy read, and I have to apologize to my buddy read group. I am so behind. I might have to try to pick up again in the next quarter. I might be behind, but I am behind. It's the Wolf Hall read along. I'm so sorry, you guys. I picked up some book reviewing work, and it really just threw me off my game. But yeah, my goal is I want to read Wolf Hall. I want to read the biography of Thomas Cromwell. I did start reading Wolf Hall. I need to really, take a couple weeks off of work and everything and just plow through it and then catch up. I'm not giving up yet, guys, just so you know. So, and then this book I read a few pages every night because I want things to sink in, and I'm underlining things. But this is, I'm almost finished with this book, actually. Probably about 20 pages from finishing. But this is John Stotts' The Incomparable Christ. It's just an interesting. The book is very interesting in how it's set up into different sections. He covers the original Jesus, the ecclesiastical Jesus, the influential Jesus, and the eternal Jesus. And I'm in the last section right now, and basically what he's doing is he's breaking down the book of Revelation, which is one of the more inscrutable books of the Bible, and one I've always struggled with. He's bringing some insights that I'd never considered before. So I'm doing a lot of underlining, and I'm liking it. I'm kind of like writing in the book. I'm writing in the book because it's, I'm not giving this away. This is something I'll come back to as a source. Yeah, it's fascinating. He's got some really interesting insights about, you know, the different visions and what they represented. The beast out of the sea. The beast out of the sea, says represents Rome as a persecuting power. The beast out of the earth represents Rome as an idolatrous system. And then Babylon, the harlot, represents Rome as a corrupting influence. It's interesting. He brings up some stuff like, I put a question mark here or there because I'm like, is this true? He's like, the Jews were always afraid of the sea. It seemed to them a continuation of the primeval chaos and even a symbol of hostility to God. The raging of the nations was like the raging of the sea. So a monster emerging out of the sea would be a particular horror. And then he kind of goes on, but isn't that interesting? I mean, everyone has a different interpretation about these things in Revelation. So I'm always interested to read someone else's, another theologian's take on it. But I thought that was interesting. So really enjoying this and almost done. Yay. What else? Okay, so now we're going to move into... this one I have finished. Okay, now we're going to move to the Kindle. Let's hope that you can see the picture. I tried this before, and I have to hold it a certain way. I just recently finished reading this and written a review for a online book review site called Shelf Awareness. Check it out. I'll include the link below. It's free. You can sign up for free e-newsletters with reviews, things coming. It's a really interesting site. I just recently discovered them. So now I'm writing for them as well, and I'm excited. And this is From the River to the Sea, The Untold Story of the Railroad War That Made the West by John Sedgwick. Now let me see if I can get this image. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys can see that cover. It's a really nice, evocative cover. I like that. Now, John Sedgwick also wrote Blood Moon, which was about the Cherokee Nation. And he's written another book, I think, on the Wrath of Cochise. No, that was Terry Mort. I'm really excited because I'm reading the next book I'm going to be reviewing for them is called Cheyenne Summer. And it's about the Battle of Beecher Island, a history by Terry Mort, who wrote a book about the Wrath of Cochise. But anyway, so John Sedgwick wrote Blood Moon. In fact, I think I found this book available on my favorite, and I'm pushing it because I'm the part of the Hamilton Hawks crew with the leather jackets, Hamilton Books, hamiltonbooks.com. So many good books for cheap, brand new books. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. John Sedgwick wrote Blood Moon, an American epic of war and splendor in the Cherokee Nation. I'm thinking since I really enjoyed this book, and this one's coming out June 1st, so it's not out yet, but it is coming out. I'm going to get this other book by John Sedgwick. It's only $7.95 on Hamilton. That's what I do. I don't know why are they not aware of me? I should get some type of free book a month for all the publicity I give these guys. It's crazy. But hey, the books are so cheap that that's the reward itself, I suppose. So, this is about the Railroad War of... it's in the 1870s and a little bit into the 1880s, but it's a fascinating story about a little known, and he says here it's the untold story of the Railroad War that made the West, but it's about General William Jackson Palmer of the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, and there's a lot of, and I should know this because I don't live in Colorado Springs. It's about an hour south of here. But he pretty much created Colorado Springs, and he built this big castle out there called Glen Eyrie, I think is how you pronounce it, to woo his paramour from the East Coast. Her name was Queenie, and a young woman, and he was an ex-Civil War general on the Union side, and had big dreams of just running railroad tracks, to different locations and opening up, areas of the West and, of course, making money in the process. But yeah, it's about him. And then William Barstow Strong, who was general manager of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad. And the gist of this book is it looks at, they were both in Colorado at the time, like the Santa Fe was moving into Colorado territory. And then all of a sudden, and before then, in 1869, the Transcontinental Railroad was first, met. I think, was it Promontory Point, Utah, I think, between the Union Pacific and, was it the Central Pacific or Southern? Anyway, they met. So that there was already two railroads that, a railroad that did, go across the continent. But in this book, it's about the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad versus what they shortened the title of the Atchison and Topeka. They just call it the Santa Fe. They wanted to lay tracks all the way to the Pacific, and not to San Francisco where the Transcontinental Railroad terminated. They wanted to go through the Southwest. Go south of like Colorado Springs and then to go around the Rocky Mountains. So you're not, the cost of trying to, lay tracks up these grades or blast through mountains, it was prohibitive. So they needed to go south and around and go through the Southwest and to build a line to a sleepy little hamlet, right, that no one really knew about too much of Los Angeles. So, but along the way, you learn a lot about these railroads and how towns sprang up, or towns, the federal land grants gave so much land to railroads on either side of the railroad that it opened up the West in a lot of out of the way places, and I mean that's what Sedgwick does here. And so, without going any further into it, but that's just the gist of the story of the historical fact of that. So I'll have a review coming out, and I'll be happy to share that with you guys when that comes out. So I've read From the River to the Sea, which publishes on June 1st, and it's by, I mentioned the publisher, Avid Reader Press, I think, which is also part of Simon & Schuster. Okay, so let me see if I can navigate this Kindle again. So there was another book I read. Please give me a cover. Is there a cover? It was a PDF. Yeah, sometimes you just get PDFs. What are you going to do? No. I don't think I have a cover yet. You could probably look it up on Amazon and it'll be there. But this is called About Time, A History of Civilization in 12 Clocks by David Rooney. And that one is coming out. Let me look that up for you guys. That was a very interesting story. It was about 12 different type of timepieces in history. 12 different, clocks. And when does this come out? Well, actually, this is not coming out until August 17th. But I had my review was due, I guess, 3 months in advance. But anyway, I've already written it. And that's going out for another publication. So, again, that's coming out in August. I hope I can share my review with you when that is available. But there might be a paywall for that. So, however, let me just read you a quick synopsis of the book. A captivating, surprising history of timekeeping and how it has shaped our world. For thousands of years, people of all cultures have made and used clocks, from the city sundials of ancient Rome to the medieval water clocks of imperial China, hourglasses fomenting revolution in the Middle Ages, the stock exchange clock of Amsterdam in 1611, Enlightenment observatories in India, and the high-precision clocks circling the Earth on a fleet of GPS satellites that have been launched since 1978. Clocks have helped us navigate the world and build empires, and have even taken us to the brink of destruction. Elites have used them to wield power, make money, govern citizens, and control lives. And sometimes the people have used them to fight back. Through the stories of 12 clocks, About Time brings pivotal moments from the past vividly to life. Historian and lifelong clock enthusiast David Rooney takes us from the unveiling of Al-Jazari's castle clock in 1206 in present-day Turkey to the Cape of Good Hope Observatory at the southern tip of Africa, where 19th century British government astronomers moved the gears of empire with a time ball and a gun, to the burial of a plutonium clock now sealed beneath a public park in Osaka, where it will keep time for 5,000 years. So basically, it's a history. A history of clocks is a history of civilization. Is the premise behind that. So, yeah, I read that. And each of these books is about almost 300 pages. So I've really been busy, guys. I'm sorry, my videos have slacked off a bit, but hey, we're charging forward here. But I want to let you know that I am reading. I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I read About Time. And now for something completely different. No, I'm just kidding. I just couldn't resist that. Oh boy, we're at the 30-minute mark already. Okay. So now I'm going to give you like a little rundown of what is currently on my docket of books I've started and I need to finish in the next month or so. And I'm probably going to add to that. So one of them, obviously, I need to start is the winner of the poll, the Anglo-Soviet Alliance. Help me out here. Okay, it was another PDF that I'm reading. Please tell me I have it. No. Okay. It's a book called, oh, here we go. Address Unknown. Now, it's a reprint of a book that was written, I think, in... Let me get back to the intro here. Address Unknown, because it was written by... I had never heard of it, but it's a very short book, and it comprises a bunch of letters. So, I mean, I've only just begun reading it, but I need to finish it in the next 2 weeks. I have a review due at the end of the month on this one. Yes, so this book, hang on a second. Okay, Address Unknown was originally published in 1938, okay, under the name Cressman Taylor. I'm trying to give you the cover. Do we have a cover? Yes, thank goodness. Okay, so it's a novel, but it's a novel of letters, and it's historical fiction for sure. Can you see that okay? It's a really nice cover. Address Unknown by Catherine Cressman Taylor. At the time, they dropped the Catherine, so they would, obviously, I don't know, they thought women couldn't write a book or something. But it's a series of letters between two Germans. Let me see if I can just find a... yeah, it says here, it's not a historical novel. It is... Hang on a second. The novel consists entirely of letters written between two German friends, Max Eisenstein and Martin Schulz, who own a successful art gallery in San Francisco. Their correspondence begins in 1932 when one of them moves back to Munich and ends in the spring of 1934. And I think it goes into how do we know what we know and when do we know it? What makes a good person become a bad person? What power does a citizen have against the state? This is in some of the information from the intro. But anyway, it's supposed to be pretty searing. And I read the introduction, and I'm just beginning to read the letters now. But it should be pretty good. I think it's like 90, 100 pages or something like that. But Address Unknown, so I'm really excited. I'm also reviewing this for Shelf Awareness. So that's ongoing. And I'm reviewing right now, and I'm about halfway through the book, is a book called Yours Cheerfully by A.J. Pierce. I can't, I don't like working this Kindle. Some people are like Kindle Fire, but I'm trying to find the documents folder. I love physical galleys, so I don't have to deal with this stuff, and I can scribble in the margins. It's only saved it as an attachment, and now I can't find it. But it's called Yours Cheerfully. Thank you. Yes. Sorry. But anyway, I'm reviewing stuff in PDF form, and sometimes it could be a hassle. But it's about I think it's a follow-up novel to the first book that A.J. Pierce wrote about these people in World War II London. I think the first book was called Dear Mrs. Bird, and this is the follow-up. They kind of write they work at the lead character works at a women's magazine. And at the time right now, it's 1941, and they're all trying to pitch into the war effort. But, she's trying to cover women's issues, like the women who are working in the factories and the problems that they're coming across. And so it's a really kind of a feel-good, cozy novel. I mean, there's no violence or anything sexual or violent. It's very clean-cut novel so far. So anyway, I have to finish that and review that by the 20th. So busy. Okay, so let's move on here. This is a book that I received for review, and I've pitched this one to Steve, and it looks like I'm gonna be reviewing this for Open Letters Review as well. And this is Thaddeus Stevens, Civil War Revolutionary Fighter for Racial Justice by Bruce Levine. This is put out by, if I can see the publisher, Simon & Schuster. I love that pouty lip. Who can resist that? That pouty lip of Thad. Anyway, I had gotten this book and I was going to read it anyway, but I wanted to also see if I could write a review on it. And Steve's like, let's do it. So, Steve, I'm gonna get into this as soon as I can. I just need to knock out a couple of other things. But it's coming your way, and I'll let you guys know when this is all done and what I think about it, and I'll link you to Open Letters Review. Okay, and then I got two more historical novels that are coming up that I'll be reviewing for the Historical Novel Society, so a lot of reviewing going on. Let's start with the first one. This is called The Hot Summer of 1968. This is an advanced reader's copy, so it may not be the final cover. I think it's a work in translation here. It's by William Klimacek. Translated by Peter Petro. Let's see here. In the spring of 1968, the Czechoslovakian Communist Party introduced socialism with a human face. That's funny. Later known as the Prague Spring. Suddenly, the citizens of Czechoslovakia enjoyed freedom of the press, an end to arbitrary wiretaps, and borders open to the West. Consumer goods appeared in the stores, and the winds of freedom blew over the country. But these reforms were not well received by the Soviet Union. In late August, the USSR sent 500,000 troops to occupy Czechoslovakia and put an end to this brief experiment. Every citizen had to make a choice, leave or stay. Thousands of Slovaks, fearing retribution, fled their homeland. In this brilliant novel based on real testimonies, Slovakia's foremost writer and playwright, William Klimacek, weaves together disparate stories of lives irrevocably changed by the events of that summer, of Anna, Alex, and their daughter Petra, forced to make a heartbreaking choice, of Teresa, stranded abroad, and of Erica and Josef Rola, fleeing totalitarianism and repression. Vividly, he contrasts their journeys, seeking refuge and freedom in new countries, with the stories of those left behind. Those who emigrated lost everything and, like all immigrants, had to rebuild their lives. With humor, empathy, and marvelous insight, Klimacek portrays the growing Slovak diaspora and the question overshadowing them all. Will they ever see their loved ones or their homeland again? In this book is put out by Dryad Press. Also Mandel-Viller Press. This is coming out. When is this coming out? Because I don't have the pub sheet. And the back of the book doesn't say. If it's not out now, it will be in the next month or two. I'll try to get that info for you. But doesn't that sound interesting? I when I heard about this, I said I would like to chance to read this and review. So I'll let you know. Okay, and this just looks like a fun World War II novel. I've never read anything by this guy, but apparently he's written. I'm thinking it's a guy. Yes, it is a man. P.T. Duterman. And this is coming out in July 2021. But look at this cover. Woo-wee! Lots going on here. Trial by Fire. A novel by P.T. Duterman. He's written several other books they're all standalones, I guess. They're like standalone World War II novels, which is really cool. So if I like this one, I might just go and read some of his other stuff. Yes. Oh, this is the wrong pup sheet for that. Okay. So, based on a true story, a dramatic World War II novel of attack, survival, and triumph on board an aircraft carrier in the Pacific. March 19th, 1945. The war in the Pacific approaches its apocalyptic climax. The largest wartime armada ever assembled, Task Force 58, is closing in on Okinawa. Once taken, it will finally put American B-29 bombers in range of the home islands of Japan and victory. At the heart of the fleet are 14 Essex-class aircraft carriers, including the USS Franklin, known as Big Ben, a 27,000-ton behemoth, home to 3,500 crewmen and 100 aircraft. Just after dawn, while crewmen prepare for battle, a single Japanese Yokosuka D-4Y breaks through the clouds and drops 2 500-pound bombs on Big Ben. The first rips through the flight deck's 3-inch armor to the hangar deck, exploding amidst 24 planes carrying 36,000 gallons of gas and 30 tons of explosives. That explains this cover quite a bit. Rockets and bombs howl in all directions. Hundreds of men are forced to leap into the sea to escape, leaving the captain with only 1/3 of his crew. There are more dead, wounded, and trapped men left on board than able-bodied sailors. Trial by Fire by P.T. Duterman is the gripping novelization of how, against all odds, the sailors of the Franklin were able to save their ship after 3 agonizing days of battling the flames that ultimately claimed the lives of 832 men and injured 300 more. Wow, I don't think I was aware of this. Readers will be astounded and humbled by the heroic actions of a few brave sailors in the face of catastrophe. So, that looks like quite the novel. It's going to be pretty gripping. It's a slim little thing. This is coming out, this is by St. Martin's Press. And it looks like it's just about 240 pages. But it should be a really fantastic read, and I'm intrigued to read some of his other works. He's got a lot of stuff here. But yeah, this is a standalone novel, so Trial by Fire. So I have to read these by, I'd say I'm going to give myself about till June 10th. I got to write some reviews up, so kind of got a lot going on here at the History Shelf, but it's all pretty much history or historical fiction, and Gidget's got to go outside. But oh, wait, I got a couple more things I just wanted to show you that I've been reading when I just need a break from the reading assignments, and I want to have some fun. But I need to pause real quick for station identification, i.e. Gidget has to pee. And we're back. All right. It's a rainy, cold day here in Denver. It's hard to get the dogs to go out, so when they really want to go out, you got to be there to let them out. Actually had some snow last night, if you can believe it. May 10th. Last night, we had some snow. So this is what I do. I keep these on my bedside. I used to subscribe to these or buy them at the newsstand years ago. And it took a little video by Steve Donahue to remind me of them and say, you know what? As much as I love mystery and thrillers, and they've been around forever, and I definitely should support them. So I decided to get a subscription to each of these. We're going to start with Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine, guys. What? This just came in the mail the other day. This is the May-June issue. But you know what? They're fun. They're quick. They're easy. And, sometimes you just want to read for fun. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying reading all of these books. What I meant to say is maybe uncritically, where you can just read to not have to analyze anything or catch anything or see what's going on. So I decided to subscribe to, again, Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine, and this is the one I've started reading because I got this one first, Ellery Queen Mystery Magazine. So this is the May-June issue, where murder's on the menu. All right. It's kind of fun. I'm reading the first story, and it's pretty good. I recognize a lot of these names because when I used to subscribe, or read them. I like Doug Allen. He's a big short story mystery thriller writer. So a lot of these names I recognize. How neat, though, just to base you're just writing short stories all the time. I mean, just the creativity involved, having to constantly come up with new ideas for all these magazines that you're writing for. So this is what I'm reading for just uncritical fun and to wind down. And it's one of my favorite fiction genres, mystery and thrillers. So I think I'm covering everything. But since I have you, I know it's for 45 minutes in. Oh, God. Sorry. I don't like damaging my books. I'm a weirdo. So this is a new magazine. It's a magazine. I think it's meant to be mostly ordered on Kindle because it's just a collection of historical articles, by historians and interviews, and I think book reviews, like author interviews, but it's bare bones. But you know what? They sell the physical copies on Amazon for like $6.99 each. This is the first issue of it, and it's called Aspects of History. What jumped out at me was like a lot of the names I recognize: Adrian Goldsworthy, Roger Morehouse, love him. Got Saul David, and so this is like the first issue, it says right down here, issue 1, baby. I bought it for $6.99 on Amazon. But you can get, I think, the Kindle or, ebook versions for like $3.99 or something like that. And you can sign up for a subscription. But here's your contents page. There's really no illustrations. And that's fine. It's basically like an academic journal, I guess. Here's your editor's note. There's no pictures or illustrations. It's just straight up writing in interviews. This is probably print on demand or something like that. But I thought it's kind of neat. I mean, historians can just submit their writings on different things, and like this one is just a straight up article by Roger Crowley. Or is this a review? Wait, The Fall of the Knights Templar, the Siege of Acre, 1291. I don't know. Oh, no. Nope, it's a little article by Roger Crowley. Isn't that fantastic? And let's see here. And then this one is like an interview over here. So that's kind of neat. They have 3 issues out right now. So I'm going through this one, and I'm probably going to order the second one. And I do like print, even though it's just bare bones. And I checked out, as far as I could, I checked out the electronic version to see if somehow they were illustrated, but they're not. So I'd rather pay a couple bucks more just to get the print version. It's just easier for me. As you can tell, it takes forever for me to maneuver through the Kindle and stuff like that. But but gosh, guys, I got a lot going on, and that's just some of them. Again, I want to thank you all for voting. And I will keep you updated on my progress on the Anglo-Soviet Alliance. What else? I need to tell you that I still plan on making. I do want my second shot in the ring with Steve Donahue. I think I can get 3 beans. I think I can get 3 beans with this guy now. Steve, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. Has Steve read it? Season 2, History Shelf, Redux. We're doing this. So that's on the docket for this week. I hope to make that video. So it's coming, and it's going to be all history, pretty sure. And I think I'm going to get 3 beans, easily, because I've learned from the first round. I also have a stack of new books that have come in the mail for review, like from publishers, and that's really awesome. And we're looking for houses, and I'm boxing up all my books right now as much as I can. These will be the last to go. That's my background. And what else? Oh, and I have some other books that I've picked up, used, and intrigued. Oh, another one. Yes, Martine's buying books now. What? She's getting in on the mystery kick. She loves watching the mysteries. So do I. But we watch a lot of BBC, Midsummer Murders, and she realized she didn't know that the Midsummer Murder series was based on a few books by Carolyn, I think Carolyn Graham or Catherine Graham. So she went and ordered a bunch. Well, like there's 6 books, and then the series just went and did their own thing. And then I ordered some off Book Outlet because I'm trying to fill in the gaps in my Elizabeth George series. And I've decided, because I've read a few P.D. James, is it Alan or Adam Dawlish series? They had some of the older paperback versions with the really cool covers from the back in the day, and I just scooped them up. So we're gonna have a mystery edition or a mystery minute, and I'm gonna show some of the books that Martine has purchased. She even got an Agatha Christie the other day at Target, so I was like really pleased. Yeah, and so we'll show off our new mystery novels, and I think that's about it, guys. Wow, why do I take up a lot of your time? I'm sorry, but you know what? It's been a while since the last video. I had a lot to cover, and just know that I have more videos to make, and I need to do my my Steve challenge is coming up soon. I need to rally those books up and get them right over here so I can film. But in the meantime, guys, let's end here. And let me know what you think, if you have any thoughts on anything I've shown. And we'll talk again soon, BookTube. You know it. Have a good day out there and be safe. Bye.